Welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the cylinder head assembly. In this segment, you will learn about cylinder head components and the function of each component. You will also learn how an overhead cam engine operates and how its valve train differs from a push rod engine. Cylinder head assembly. The cylinder head and its components are designed to make sure that the valves open and close, and that fuel is injected at the proper time for peak engine performance. Valve train assembly. The valve train assembly includes 1. Cylinder head. 2. Valve cover. 3. Bridges. 4. Valve spring assemblies. 5. Valve guides. 6. Valve seat inserts. 7. Valves. And 8. Rocker arms. Cylinder head. The cylinder head is a separate casting which seals the top of the engine block and holds the valves, injector or pre-combustion chamber in place. It also houses the valve train, some fuel system components, and water passages for cooling the parts. Gasket and spacer plate. The cylinder head 1 is seated to the engine block with gaskets, 2, a spacer plate, 3, and bolts or studs. Cylinder head castings. Depending on the engine design, the cylinder head can either be a single casting that covers the top of the block, or several castings that cover one or more cylinders each. Valve cover removal. You must remove the valve covers in order to reach the valve train components. Rocker arms. Rocker arms link the valves to the camshaft and change the rotary motion of the camshaft to the reciprocating motion in the valves. As the push rod in the block pushes up on one end of the rocker arm, it pivots on the rocker arm shaft and pushes down on the valve mechanism, causing the valve to open. As the camshaft continues turning, the push rod lowers, and the force of the valve spring closes the valve. There is a separate rocker arm for intake and exhaust valves on every cylinder. Rocker arm components. A rocker arm consists of 1. Adjusting screw. It adjusts valve lash. 2. Lock nut. It locks screw in place to maintain lash. 3. Wear seat. A hardened insert that prevents rocker arm wear. And 4. Rocker shaft bushing. Provides a bearing between the rocker arm and the shaft. Valve lash. The rocker arm pivots on a shaft that is usually fastened to the cylinder head. When the cam lobe starts to move the push rod upwards, there is usually a little gap or clearance between the rocker arm and valve bridge that assures the valve is able to close completely. This is called valve lash and is one of the more critical adjustments that must be made on the valve train. Bridges. Bridges are used if a cylinder has multiple intake and exhaust valves. On these engines, the bridge assembly transmits rocker arm motion to all intake or exhaust valves on a cylinder simultaneously. Bridge components. 1. Wear seat reduces bridge wear. 2. Adjusting screw compensates for differences in the height of the valve stems. 3. Lock nut sets adjusting screw. And 4. Bore rides on guide pin. Bridge dowels. Bridges fit on bridge dowels. Bridge dowels fit into bores in the cylinder head. Valves. The valves control flow of air and exhaust gases through the combustion chamber. When the intake valve is open, air is allowed into the combustion chamber. When the exhaust valve is open, exhaust exits the combustion chamber. Valve components. 1. Keeper grooves where keepers grip the valve stem to hold the spring on. 2. Valve stem extends the length of the valve, rides in the valve guide. 3. Valve fillet joins head of valve to stem. 4. Valve seat has a hard facing which reduces wear and seals the combustion chamber. And 5. Valve face the flat portion of valve. Valve seat inserts. To completely seal the combustion chamber, every valve has a valve seat insert located in the cylinder head. When the valve closes, the valve seat contacts the valve seat insert. On most engines, the valve seat inserts are replaceable. Valve guides. Valves move up and down inside valve guides which are mounted in the cylinder head. Valve guides keep the valves traveling in a straight line. The valve stem extends out of the guide on top of the cylinder head. Valve spring assembly. Valve springs keep the valves closed. Valve springs fit over the valves. Valve springs are held in place by a combination of keepers, 1, and either a retainer, 2, or rotator. Valve retainers. Retainers or rotators fit over the end of the valve stem. Retainers lock the keepers into grooves in the valve, and provide a seat for the valve spring to press against. Valve rotators. Valve rotators turn the valve to prevent excessive wear in one spot. Major wear items. The valves, valve seat inserts, and valve guides experience the most wear because of the high combustion temperatures and pressures. All are replaceable components. Fuel nozzles. Fuel nozzles or unit injectors are also located in the head. The nozzles fit between the valves. Fuel nozzle mount. Fuel nozzles are held in place with a sleeve, washers, adapters, and keepers. That's the end of episode 5, Cylinder Assembly. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can join me for the next lesson.